Did Batman ever lose a Robin? Welcome to Comicstorian's complete story series, where I bring you trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations in the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is an old story from the 1980s. Many of you may know it's one of the origins of the Red Hood. It's where things started for him. For those of you who don't know what's about to happen, this is the birth of Jason Todd. Our story begins with Batman and Robin hunting down a child pornography operation in a warehouse in Gotham City. When Batman goes in to shut it down, his partner Robin rushes into combat with reckless abandon. While this is easy work for the dynamic duo to take down these criminals, Batman does reprimand Robin for his brash tactics. When he goes home, he has a discussion with Alfred concerning the boy Wonder, who at this time is Jason Todd. With Dick Grayson recently retired as Robin, he decided to recruit another Robin that he took in from the streets. Something is wrong with this new Robin. Most of it stems from the fact that he's still mourning the loss of his parents, something that Bruce Wayne has put behind him, but Alfred confirms Bruce's suspicions when he decides to remove Jason as an active duty Robin. Jason, however, overhears this argument and then gets into a verbal argument with Bruce before storming off. Batman is called in by Commissioner Gordon because of some very grim news. The Joker has escaped Arkham Asylum, leaving many dead people in his wake. The world's greatest detective is on the case to find out what his oldest rival is up to, and we soon learn that the Joker has escaped only to discover his funds have been depleted. But don't worry, he still has an ace up his sleeve. He has his very own cruise missile. He's had it stowed away for some time, and instead of using it to murder innocents, he decides to hawk the weapon to some terrorists in the Middle East. His goal is for a change of pace that doesn't involve crime, but something involving international politics, and with this money, he just might do that. Meanwhile, Jason Todd is wandering the streets of Gotham alone. He comes across his old home, a place of happier memories. Suddenly, an old neighbor recognizes Jason, and she has a gift for him. Old heirlooms from his family. Jason takes these items back to Wayne Manor to look through them, to get in touch with his past. However, he soon comes across his birth certificate and he learns some shocking news. While his father's name is on the document, his mother's name is different. Water damage has ruined the document, but he identifies the first letter of his mother's name as the letter S. And using his father's old address book, he learns that there are 3 female contacts with names beginning with that letter. Using the Bat computer, Jason soon discovers that these 3 names are Charmin Rosen, Shiva Woosman, and Dr. Sheila Haywood. All 3 women are operating overseas in the Middle East and Africa, and so Jason decides that he's gonna find them on his own because he thinks Batman wouldn't understand his desire to meet his mother. Using the wealth and resources of Bruce Wayne, Jason leaves Gotham in search of his true birth mother, who might still actually be alive. Little does Jason know though, Joker has already hijacked a plane with his cruise missile to go to the Middle East. Shortly after, Batman uses his incredible detective skills to discover that Joker is in possession of a nuclear weapon, and he deduces that he's taking it to Lebanon to sell to terrorists. However, Alfred informs Batman that Jason has run away, and he has to make the decision to find Jason Todd or pursue his deadliest foe, Joker, overseas. It's a moral dilemma for Batman that will change his life forever. Batman touches down in Lebanon, and he tracks down the plane the Joker arrived in, and that's when he learns the Joker killed the pilots and successfully transported the cruise missile with him. Batman's worst fears are confirmed. He knows that in order to find Joker, he's gonna have to go through the violent streets of Beirut to track down his prey. Meanwhile, Jason has also arrived in Beirut in search of Charmin Rosen. Using his detective skills, he finds a hotel that she's staying in. Before he's able to ask for her, he's grabbed off the streets by none other than Bruce Wayne. Bruce recently learned that the man selling the missile for the Joker is a man named Peter Brando, and he too is staying in the same hotel. Jason tells Bruce that he's here to track down a woman who might be his mother, and Bruce tells Jason that the reason he's here is to stop the Joker. While it seems that their cases are separate, they soon see Charmin Rosen and Peter Brando walking past the hotel, and that's when they realize they are actually on the same case, and they begin to track the 2 of them out into the desert of Lebanon using their Bat gliders. They soon arrive at a camp near the Israeli border, and lo and behold, Joker is there to make the deal. $1 million for his cruise missile. The terrorist is anxious to use the weapon and begins to arm it, so Batman and Robin begin to dismantle Joker's thugs and the Palestinian terrorists slowly and methodically. During the fighting though, Peter Brando realizes that Charmin has been deceiving him and she's actually an Israeli agent and threatens to kill her. Jason, seeing his potential mother in danger, recklessly moves in to stop Peter. Before Brando can pull the trigger, the terrorist arms the cruise missile and launches it, except the missile malfunctions, creating a giant explosion. Somehow, the nuclear warhead did not detonate, but in the chaos, Joker escapes without his precious suitcase filled with all of the money he needs to start his new operation. After all of the villains are cleaned up, Batman and Robin question Charmin Rosen about her past. Had she ever been to Gotham City? And has she ever had a child there? Sadly, the answer is no. And Jason tells Batman that he will now go searching for Shiva Wuzin back in Beirut. Batman agrees to come with them to make sure that he stays out of trouble, and at the nearby airport, Joker in disguise buys a ticket to fly to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for reasons unknown. The search for Jason's potential mother, Shiva Wuzmin, begins with a troubling abduction in Beirut. Batman and Robin learn that she's been abducted and taken back to Bekaa Valley, and in order to infiltrate their camp, they beat up some terrorists to take their clothes as a disguise. The two begin the dread work of incapacitating the henchmen quickly and quietly, but it all seems so easy to them, too easy. They take a look in the tent where Shiva is supposedly being held captive and she isn't there, and Batman deduces that this is a terrorist training camp, and then a hit over Jason's head leaves him unconscious. Batman turns to learn that Lady Shiva is the woman in charge of this camp, and she also happens to be the woman that they think might be Jason Todd's mother. What proceeds is a magnificent duel of martial arts between Lady Shiva and the Caped Crusader. She proves to be much more than a match for Batman, and the combat is drawn out until Jason wakes up to see Batman and the woman that he thinks might be his mother fighting to the death. Jason decides to help Batman, and with a surprise strike to her back, Batman finishes off Lady Shiva with a couple of moves, knocking her out. He then uses a time-delayed charge to destroy the terrorist camp, and the two take her away for questioning. Again, they ask her a simple question: did you ever have a child? She gleefully replies that she's had many children all over the world. Batman is obviously not amused by her humor, so he takes out a dose of sodium pentothal to force the truth out of her. This time, the answer is more direct: no. Satisfied, they leave her out in the middle of the desert, left with only one more option: the Dr. Sheila Haywood. And it seems that someone else has found her first. Over in a famine relief camp in Ethiopia, an all too familiar face barges in on Dr. Sheila Haywood hard at work, and she recognizes him immediately: the Joker. He knows this woman from her troubled past in Gotham City, and plans to use her connections to gain medical supplies in order to sell them on the black market. Yes, the Joker has been reduced to hijacking trucks. Just another victim of Reaganomics. That's me. So the Joker's next plan is set. Another fateful coincidence. It takes a little time for Batman and Robin to locate Dr. Sheila Haywood in the Ethiopian refugee camp. Innocent, starving refugees are all around them, and perhaps this is the place where Jason Todd's true mother is. They easily find her tent, and then the two of them, in their public identities of Bruce Wayne and Jason Todd, introduce themselves. Sheila immediately realizes that Jason is her long-lost son, and in a moment of elation, the two embrace, and Batman looks on. He leaves them for a time to have their happy reunion, and the doctor relates her sad story to Jason, revealing that after giving birth to him, she was a part of a botched operation and it ruined her medical career in the United States. She fled for England, where his father, Willis Todd, was going to meet her. However, he fell in love with Katherine Johnson, and the two of them got married. After that happened, she abandoned Jason because she didn't think she would ever win a custody battle because of her troubled past. She has since dedicated her life to helping people, but the reunion is cut short as she gets back to work distributing food to the refugees. Jason walks alone in the camp when he recognizes that familiar face in skin-colored makeup: the Joker. He walks into Sheila's tent, and Jason eavesdrops on their conversation. He learns that the Joker is blackmailing Sheila in order to enact his villainous scheme. Joker leaves with Dr. Haywood to go to a warehouse where the medical supplies are being kept, and Jason follows, acting alone without Batman. He follows them to the warehouse, where he learns that Joker is taking medical crates and replacing them with crates of a lethal laughing gas to kill everyone in 4 acres after they get opened. With this grim news, Jason heads off to find Batman, and he relays the evil plan to Batman, but by the time they get back to the warehouse, they see the trucks are already delivering the crates of deadly gas to the nearby camp. Batman begins to think that they can stop them in time with his mini bat helicopter, but he has to go alone. It is a mini bat helicopter, not the big one. He tells Jason to watch after the warehouse with explicit warning: do not act until he returns. But as the bat helicopter takes off, Jason makes a bold decision to save his mother from the clown prince of crime. He goes into the warehouse and he finds Dr. Haywood, and he tells her that he knows what's going on and reveals to her that he's actually Robin, the boy wonder, Batman's sidekick. And she tells him that the Joker is long gone and guides him into a warehouse to show him something. That something is the Joker with a gang of thugs in tow. Jason turns around, and then what should have been the happiest day of his life turns into the worst day of his life as he sees his own mother pointing a gun at him. It seems that the good doctor has been embezzling medical supplies on her own to make money on the side, and if he interferes, it could make her life worse. With Jason surrounded, the Joker proceeds to give Jason the beating of a lifetime. He can barely fight back, and the Joker nearly beats him to death with a crowbar. Blood is everywhere, and his mother looks on and lights a cigarette. Batman is in hot pursuit of the military truck with the poison gas, but his bat helicopter gets shot down by unsuspecting soldiers. After incapacitating the soldiers, Batman tells the drivers that this crisis is over and to turn around. Batman needs to get back to Jason, and he uses one of the convoy trucks to race back to the warehouse, where the Joker is. Speaking of the Joker, he's back in the warehouse deciding his next move. With Jason near death, he decides to tie up Dr. Haywood and blow the warehouse up to remove any evidence that he did this. Sheila is helpless to do anything after being betrayed by the Joker, and as time is ticking away on the bomb, Jason miraculously gets a second win and he unties his mother. But he's too beat up to deactivate the bomb, and their best option is to escape. With only seconds to spare, they make their way to the door, only to find that it's locked. The Joker locked them in the warehouse. Batman sees the Joker driving off, and he opts to go to the warehouse to see if Jason is alright. But as he arrives in his truck, he sees a massive explosion. Jason! Oh my god! Oh my god, no! Now, at the end of Batman 427, there's a famous page that followed the exploding warehouse. It was an advertisement for readers to decide what was going to happen next. And there were two 1-800 numbers printed there. One was to tell DC that Jason Todd Robin should live. The other one was to tell DC that Jason Todd Robin should die. And so, on September 16th of 1988, the comic book readers would decide the fate of the Boy Wonder. What happened next was the result of those phone calls. Batman slowly walks through the remains of the warehouse that he left Jason at to watch over. Worry begins to wash over his face as he braces for the worst, and he blames himself for leaving Jason behind. He regrets his decision that led him to recruiting another Robin after Dick moved on. He moves through his memories of Jason Todd from his first meeting to their encounter with Two-Face, and as he looks through the rubble of his memories and the warehouse, he finds Dr. Sheila Haywood lying there, nearly dead. In her last breath, she tells Batman that the Joker trapped them in the warehouse with the bomb in order to kill them. And in the final moments before the explosion, Jason jumped in front of her to save her life. He was the hero in the end. He was a good boy. He loved his mother. With the regrets of her own life choices, she dies in Batman's arms. And the Dark Knight silently continues to go through the wreckage, hoping beyond hope that Jason is okay. And he sees him at last. He goes to check for a pulse, and there's nothing. He's lost him. Jason Todd, the Boy Wonder, is dead. The Joker is off selling his stolen medical supplies. As he receives his money, two Secret Servicemen from Iran are there to meet him. They are there at the behest of a man that wished to speak with the Joker. They go into the next room to find that it is the Grand Ayatollah himself, and he's there to offer the Clown Prince of Crime a government position. The Joker's dream has come true. Back at the ruins, Batman as Bruce Wayne deals with the authorities. He removes any evidence of Robin's disguise and he answers the questions that they have, keeping the truth to himself. No authority will keep him from dealing with the Joker. Soon after, Batman follows the Joker to his location in Ethiopia, and the only thing that he can find is a warehouse filled with dead henchmen and a bloody message. B, see you at 42nd and 1st. J. Batman takes the body of Sheila and Jason back to Gotham, where they have a small funeral that only Commissioner Gordon, Barbara Gordon, and Alfred attend. No one knew the identity of Jason Todd, and all of his family is gone. Alfred tells Batman that he can contact the Nightwing to help him, but Bruce refuses. No help from here on. That's the way I want it. Batman quickly deduces the address that the Joker gave him was not in Gotham, but in New York City at the United Nations Plaza. And when he gets there, he's prepared to find out what the Joker's game is. But that's when he's greeted by someone else entirely different, Superman. Superman is there at the request of the State Department because the Iranian government warned them that Batman may arrive. Superman tells Batman that there is a new ambassador for Iran who has diplomatic immunity and all of his past crimes are washed away. Superman is there to stop an international incident and he tells Batman to walk away. But Batman finds it weird because Superman refuses to state who the ambassador is, and he even punches the Man of Steel out of anger, bruising his hand. It is then that the new Iranian ambassador steps out of a car, and it is as Batman feared. The Joker is the ambassador. Batman has a meeting with a CIA agent who tells him that he needs to leave the Joker alone, and the president has asked Superman to keep Batman from doing anything that might start a war with Iran. After the agent leaves, Superman asks Batman about the death of his ward, Jason Todd, and Batman confirms that it was Robin and the Joker is responsible. Superman pleads with him not to put his vengeance above the country's interests, but Batman will not be swayed from his mission, and he leaves. Bruce Wayne begins to pull strings so that he can attend the UN meeting where the Iranian ambassador is going to be speaking. But that isn't for another day, so Batman decides to hunt down the Joker where he's staying. Batman gives Joker the ultimatum: surrender yourself to Arkham Asylum. The Joker knows that there is nothing Batman can do, so he just mocks him and his dead partner Robin. This gives Batman the confirmation that he needed to truly learn that the Joker killed Jason Todd. Batman leaves before the Joker can shoot him, and at the UN meeting the next night, Bruce Wayne is in attendance, and the Joker takes the stage. He stands there and he gives a crazy speech about how the UN will not be allowed to keep Iran down, and then he unleashes poisonous laughing gas on the UN members in attendance. All of the world's leaders would have surely been dead, but Superman in disguise was there to save the day. Superman breathes in all of the deadly laughing gas, and he stops the Joker's mad plot. But the Joker has a backup plan. Explosives set in the UN building overnight. In the mayhem, Batman jumps out and he begins to fight with the Joker, but the Joker has already started his getaway, and he runs out of the building towards a helicopter. Batman leaps after him, jumping on board as it takes off. On board the helicopter, Arab bodyguards shoot indiscriminately at Batman and the Joker, wounding the Joker and killing the pilot, which causes the helicopter to crash into a nearby building, exploding with the Joker in it. Before the crash, Batman leaps out of the helicopter and into the water below, with Superman there to pull him out. Batman demands that they find the corpse of the Joker, but he knows they won't. The struggle of Batman and the Joker is once again left unresolved, with the death of Jason Todd in their wake. And that is officially how Jason Todd died and where the story of Under the Red Hood comes from. Now, you probably have seen that movie of Under the Red Hood, but there is a comic book story for that, and we're probably going to be covering it eventually. I hope you guys enjoyed this, but this is probably one of the darker moments in the Dark Knight's history, and probably one of the most evil things the Joker has pulled off. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Batman, more Joker, more comic books. Follow us on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you guys next time right here.